In 1721, living in the American colonies meant being plugged into a global information network that was currently screaming with reports of disaster. This is the January 24th edition of the American Weekly Mercury, an information pipeline functioning like a modern crisis broadcast. A single issue presented relentless dispatches, massive military mobilizations, a violent plague, and a financial market in absolute freefall. Early newspapers flooded Kalaval readers with these reports of global catastrophe, effectively linking their local perspective to the survival of empires thousands of miles away. The Foreign War Desk reports in this issue began with news of a massive Spanish armada deploying from Cadiz. This fleet was crossing the Strait of Gibraltar to reinforce the port of Sète and begin the siege of Tetuan. The logistical scale was staggering: 18,000 foot soldiers, 4,000 horses, and a heavy train of artillery, supported by an 80-gun man-of-war. Beyond Spain, secondary conflicts were brewing as the Russian army gathered on Poland's borders, and fleets entered a tense standoff in the Baltic. To a colonial reader, these movements highlighted a precarious reality. Their own trade routes were directly tied to military gambles made in distant European courts. The health desk carried a terrifying dispatch from an eminent physician in Aix, France, regarding a violent new contagion. The report describes gruesome physical and psychological symptoms: carbuncles, buboes, livid blisters, and a, quote, dreadful frenzy that required patients to be tied down. In the 18th century, these symptoms signaled a lethal reality. Without modern medicine, there was very little anyone could do to stop the spread. With the death toll exceeding 50 people a day for 3 weeks, the British government forced all incoming ships into a strict quarantine. To a colonist reliant on oceanic shipping for basic goods, this news transformed every incoming merchant vessel into a potential existential threat. The financial desk covered the catastrophic fallout of the South Sea bubble bursting across Europe. Dispatches from Paris and The Hague reported stocks had fallen extremely, with bank bills once worth 100 livres plummeting to just 19 ready money. This sudden crash wiped out the wealth of the merchant class, leaving an abundance of prominent bankers in England and Holland completely undone. The paper even included a dark poem about the crash, mockingly comparing the ruined investors to Pharaoh's army drowning in the Red Sea. The volatility proved that colonial livelihoods were already tethered to the whims of speculative markets across the Atlantic. Moving from global markets to individual corruption, the news reported the arrest of the governor of Barbados for allegedly encouraging piracy and detaining Navy captains. But right next to these reports of high treason, the paper featured localized classifieds, including a reward for a runaway 6-month-old bear. The description is highly specific. The bear is Indian-born, very quarrelsome, understands English a little, and was last seen wearing a fear-nothing coat. Placing an absurd runaway bear ad immediately adjacent to reports of systemic global collapse highlights the varied scales of information humans have always been forced to process at once. Looking at the newspaper as a whole, it's clear these printed sheets acted as a vital information network, connecting settlers to a vast, chaotic world. Tracking pandemics, monitoring financial crashes, and obsessing over political scandal is exactly how we consume information today. The anxieties printed in 1721 mirror our own exactly. While the medium has shifted from ink to pixels, the nature of the headlines remains the same.